So tell me more about that. I mean, you showed me
Mhm.
kind of how the nutrition integrates with
Yep.
your philosophy on working out and training
Yeah.
people, how that kind of fits into the big picture. So
Yep.
then where does the fight team come in, or how do you train them? How do they
So
integrate in?
now we're doing classes with like pro practices that's just focused on like recovery and movement.
So this you mentioned before the show,
Mhm.
it used to be kind of Grudge, and that's
Yeah,
where you
yeah.
did your internship. They were a
Yep.
big training center here north of Denver in
Yep.
Colorado. Um, Pretty well known. I mean, they had
Yeah.
UFC fighters,
Yep.
and Trevor Whitman
Yep.
was coaching
Great
there.
coach. Yeah. So to go back to that
Yeah.
a little bit, like that gym, I don't really know all the details, but it was just kind of closing down.
Yeah.
And our head coach Jake, he opened Genesis Training Center, moved over, and it was a lot of grudge, just transplanting, kind of starting new, if you will. I mean,
Mhm.
Genesis, right?
Ah.
And yeah, right. So we were just kind of starting new and getting back into a new team, right? And it was the old team, but you know, it was a little bit of like transition, if you will, a
Yeah.
little transition period. But everything was super smooth, just getting over there, and then it was time to build, and it was time to grow as Genesis Fight Team, and rebuild ourselves. And that was, I'll say, 2.5 years ago,
Okay.
a little maybe 3 years ago, and we moved locations, started just getting everything back, the ball rolling. Like we had different wrestling coaches and jiu-jitsu coaches, and just building back up. Now we have 10th Planet Denver is part of the team, so
Very
they're
cool.
heading up all the jiu-jitsu. Connor Hune and Heather Clark and everybody, they're doing their thing, and they're doing jiu-jitsu. Uh, Jake's brought in, like, he's doing all of the striking and the kickboxing and all that. Nate Marquardt's been doing wrestling with everybody.
Oh, neat. UFC veteran.
Brandon Gertz does
Yeah.
wrestling.
Bellator
Yeah,
current
yep.
fighter. Cool.
So all those guys have, you know, picked up like wrestling and stuff like that. And then I'm doing all the strength and conditioning. So
Yeah.
now that we're in our new location, we've developed this kind of team system that we've got, right? Through, once again, trial and error, figuring it
Yeah.
out. We now have like a core crew of everything. So we can do everything in one location. So really what I'm starting to do with our team is movement-based strength and conditioning and
Cool.
recovery. One of the big things that I harp on is foam rolling and getting that tissue to respond the way you need it to.
For recovery.
For recovery, yep.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great programs we use.
3-0 in Muay Thai, the owner of Sharkk Fitness, and the head of strength and conditioning for the Genesis Fight Team, Mike Schultz, is my interview guest today for episode 16 of The Prize Fighting Business. I'm your host, Muay Dan, and in today's episode, Mike and I sat down to discuss how he approaches his busy life as an entrepreneur, an athlete, and now a new dad, as he recently had a kid while transitioning gym locations and training for a fight. Listen to the show to see how he balances it all and learn more about Mike's martial arts journey up to this point. Now let's dive into my conversation with athlete and entrepreneur, Mike Schultz. All right, Mike, well, thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So a lot of big things happening for you. You're a new father. You started a gym. So
Yep.
How's that going?
It's good, man. Being a dad's by far the coolest thing I've ever done, probably will ever do. Didn't know what I was getting into, like any new parent, right? But it's awesome, man. My she's amazing. It's really cool. So also with the new gym, it's really cool because I get to bring her like with me to work every day. So it's cool to have a job and a lifestyle where it's like I get to raise my daughter. That was always the goal with me and my fiance, was like, raise your kids.
And you've created this lifestyle. I mean, you've enabled yourself to have this by being a business owner and starting your own gym. And this kind of all happened all at once as far as the gym opening and your daughter being born. So maybe tell me a little bit about that and how you balance that.
So we started Sharkk Fitness, my fiance and I, about 4 years ago. We came up with the concept, started it, and started like getting the ball rolling with everything. And then through a long journey, we ended up teaming up with Genesis Training Center, and that's where I did my internship. That's where I started like competing. That's where I first like got into the sport and everything. So then, you know, as we like progressed as a team and as a family. We're like, hey, like we're starting to do it. Like let's commit all the way. And we opened the gym inside of Genesis. We just moved locations to a bigger facility, more space, more everything, and we're able to renovate it the way that we wanted, right? The way that we pictured it in our head like 4 years ago, like just checked everything off. And now we get to do that. And like I said earlier, you get to bring your daughter to work every day, which is really cool.
Yeah,
really cool.
Get her started young.
Yeah, and you know, that's my fiance trained the whole time she was pregnant, like, so she was already familiar with the sound of hitting mitts, people, you know, swinging maces and stuff like that. So right away she's just comfortable there. Like she just chills and watches everybody work out, and everybody already knows her.
Right.
She's just a little potato.
So you have the Sharkk Fitness inside of the Genesis Training Center, so you have your own space there?
Yes, so Genesis Training Center is our main gym, the MMA team, everything. They run all their kickboxing, boxing, MMA classes, all that stuff, and then we have a space and we run all the fitness and the strength and conditioning for the gym and for the team. So we have our own space that's inside of the gym. That we have our bag rack over there, which is awesome. We have steel maces, our squat racks, our kettlebells, everything there, and then directly next to us is the mat space, octagon, ring, all that fun stuff.
Nice. So you train competitively. You fight Muay Thai, kickboxing bouts.
Yep.
You run the Sharkk Fitness, and your fiance was kickboxing through pregnancy, but she also runs her own business, right?
Yep. So she's training the whole time, and she also does all of the nutrition for Sharkk Fitness. So Real Food Denver is her food line. She partnered up with George Lockhart, so fight fans are familiar. If they're not, he's one of the leading weight cut specialists in the world, and really developed a program that helps fighters make weight healthy while still eating while they're in camp. You know, everyone wants to like not eat, or I had salad, you know what I mean, like stuff like that. So she really makes sure that everyone has like healthy, nutritious food that like fits them, you know. So she did that through her whole pregnancy and the whole time, and that was fun.
So how did you, I guess originally, how did you envision all this coming together? I mean, did you each individually have these ideas and then you met each other and you said, hey, this would integrate very well? Or how did it all
so one
get
of the first
started?
things that her and I bonded over was just working out and training.
Yeah.
Like it was like one of our first things that we always went out, like every time we'd go out on a date or go out like to a concert or something, like we got to get a workout in before we go have fun, right? So that was kind of what we did. And when we moved out here, that was just like our passion was just like fitness and working out.
Where did you move from?
We moved from Michigan.
Okay.
Yep. So from the southeast Detroit area, like my hometown and her hometown are a couple hours apart, but met down there and moved out here, trained, and she had said right from like when we first met, she's like, I'm gonna do something with food. Didn't necessarily know what, right? We didn't know the path, and I just like loved training and started thinking like, how can I make this a job? You know what I'm saying? So then I went back to school, got a degree, did my internship, like I said, with Grudge and with my coaches, and slowly everything just kind of started to evolve. So she was a special education teacher prior to that. So she worked out here with developing an autism program for the state of Colorado. So she did that, and that was her whole goal. She's like, I'm going to set up this program, develop this program, and then hand it off to the teachers that are working with it, and I'm going to do something with food. And so last year she left her job and started a nutrition line.
Wow.
Like just, pretty impressive. Yeah.
Well, she had this program orientation clearly from being able to build something like that from the ground up and be able to implement it.
Yeah, right away.
So then just doing that in a more business-oriented setting.
Yep, and letting that evolve too. Like just like when you develop that program, you have to find things that work and how to make it make sense to the right people and everything. Right. So she did that, and like the nutrition lines went through a lot of different changes, but we've like found a system that works and just has a ton of success with it.
Yeah, she works with a lot of high-level fighters, both locally, but also not in Colorado, I believe. And I mean, how does that integrate into your business? Like, are she also working with average people, or is it specifically for fighters?
So she has a nutrition line that she does for general population, for everybody that just wants to like eat healthy, get in shape. Some people just need a couple healthy meals. Like people will meal prep a lot of like lunches or breakfast, but if they're on the go or they're training, like just to have something healthy to grab. So we actually carry we make meals weekly and everything, and we'll have them like at the gym, and people can just pick them up when they're done training,
Oh,
you
cool.
know, and make sure that like their macronutrients are just like a good post-workout meal that actually
That
tastes
is
good.
super convenient. Wait, so
Yeah.
they're leaving the gym and there's a refrigerator and they can just buy it real quick?
Yep. So right now
I would do that.
Yeah. So we just moved locations, so it's not set up now, but like at the last location, that's what we had.
Man, that's
going
really
on.
smart. I would be all about that as a gym patron.
Yes. So and people love it, and like it's awesome because like I said, we get everything locally. So she gets everything from like local butchers. We've bought pigs and everything from farms out here.
Cool.
Like try to keep everything as local as we can.
Absolutely.
And just fresh, you know. So everything's going quick, you know. If it's a couple days go by, we pull the meals because we're like, we don't want a meal that's been sitting in there for 3 days. Like fresh is the name of the game for everybody. So just having that there for people is huge. And that's part of how we can integrate it is, you know, here's a hard workout. Here's what you just put your body through, like replenish it, refuel it, you know, do it the right way.
And I'm leaving the gym at 8:30, 8:45 sometimes at night. I don't want to go home and cook or have to think about pressing this restaurant by my house that, you know, they're closing at 9:30 and showing up at 9 o'clock. So that'd be so convenient.
And it's so easy to get caught up. I mean, I still am bad about it sometimes, and she runs the line. So I'm still my own worst enemy. But there's times where it's like, man, I'm gonna stop and get a Big Mac. And it's right there. It's right there. You know what I mean? It's so easy. So having that at the gym, and we put it right as you're going, just open the fridge, grab a meal, go home, you know, and they said feel good, you know.
Right.
Yeah, it's putting those two together is, you know, the ultimate goal. Like ideally, like the next stage, we can't wait till like we can have a kitchen like at the gym.
That'd be sweet.
Right, like be able to make like food there, have meals there. I mean, that's obviously a lofty goal. So down the road, that's what ideally like have a gym, have everything there, and like fresh shakes, your reload shakes, your food, everything in one spot. You know what I mean? So like I said, leave at 8:30, you can go home and just recover. You know, just go to sleep and get up the next day.
Yeah, be ready to go. Not waste your time and energy cooking.
Well, then if you gotta like, all right, like I gotta make a meal now, and I gotta make a meal for tomorrow morning, so I gotta grab something before I go to work, and just so she has different ones. Some people just buy like stacks of them.
Yeah,
and they'll get a bunch of them for the week and integrate them to what their schedule is.
And then it feeds really well into your business. So did she start hers prior to yours then? Is that what you're saying?
No,
it was both the same time.
At the same. Well, yes, we started the gym originally. Like we started it in our garage. We just renovated our garage. Like went out there, painted it, turfed it, got mats, like hung up the mirrors, and just made it our own little gym and started running little classes, like little studio things.
Where was this out of?
At our house
in like Arvada?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And we actually then started pairing like the meal prep like with that. We're like, hey, come do a class, bring some food, and we'll grill and like meal prep like together, right?
Cool.
So like that was kind of like a way to
build a community.
Exactly, and people would.
I love it.
A lot of our clients and members are all our friends and all passionate about the same thing. So people come over, bring some food, grill. Like we had all containers. Everyone loads up their stuff. We have a couple beers, and that was like how we started. Then moved into Genesis's first location. Started it there, and at that time is when she started the nutrition line and started like really like doing. She like said going with George Lockhart and learning how to do this stuff the right way, and then marketing it, and then developing this weight cutting program, because now that's really the main focus is fighters, fight camps, and weight cuts, but being able to also give our general population what they need to.
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting that it seems like both of your business lines, or all three of them, even if you include Genesis, but I mean, they seem to build out from like your personal interests, and that's really going to make that passion come across. So, you wanted to train martial arts, train for fighting, and that happens to be kind of this functional lifting method seems to be what works the best there. And then, how do I sustain all this? It's through healthy eating. And once we address it for ourselves, then we can start addressing it for our community that we've built around ourselves and these general ideas that people share interest in. And then even further out from there, the general Colorado martial arts community. So I think it's beautiful. I mean, it's an awesome approach to business, and it allows you to get your passion across. It allows you to build a bit of a deeper community than maybe something that you educated yourself on in school, but you're not passionate about per se.
Yeah, and that's exactly like, so when I was going back to school, I was like, what do I really love to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Before I go get in debt again, before I go spend all this money, like what really is it? And it was training, and it was being healthier. and then once we got back and we're like, all right, this is what we're passionate about. Like we kind of used ourselves as guinea pigs, if you will, to like work through this because it is our passion. Like, how do we feel doing this? And through years of developing it, we've now got it like down to a science. Like we know exactly what your body needs. We know what drills are going to work the best. We know where and when to push. We know how to recover. And just putting all those things together for ourselves. And like you said, then you can branch out in the community and then more and more people can start to benefit from, all the like I said, guinea pigging that we did on ourselves.
And you're making a bigger impact just in that itself.
Yeah, because you see it in weight cuts, like people, what was it, Aspen Lad was like trembling and shaking.
Yeah, that she looked rough. It was scary. It was frightening seeing her on the scale.
And it doesn't have to be. You know what I mean? You don't have to be in. What Laylee's done which is awesome, is
Laylee is your fiance.
My fiance, sorry. They all of our fighters are cutting under 10 pounds if they have to cut at all.
That's phenomenal.
Most of them are ending up on weight.
Just from eating healthy during camp.
Just from eating healthy, hydrating the right way, like getting the proper amount of everything in her mad scientist notebook, like into your body the right way. I mean, they're waking up on weight. They're feeling great. They're not depleted. And that shows in your performance. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I think that's also the benefit of doing this during camp as opposed to waiting until a week, 2 weeks before and saying, oh, man, I need to start that weight cut thing.
And we have people that come in to hire her, like,
I believe
the end. And we got to, like, preface it like, hey, like, we'll get you there. It might not be comfortable. You might not like it. I really, really, really recommend you starting this earlier.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And,
absolutely.
And we try not to, like, have those giant cuts because it's not safe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we want everybody to be safe and get there to their fight healthy. I mean, fighting's dangerous enough. Like, just do it the right way.
Yeah.
Just do it the right way.
But it does require discipline on the fighter or the client, and your from your perspectives part as well.
Yeah, because I mean, like anything, you have people that don't commit all the way, and you can see it, and you have people that commit all the way, and they're shredded. Praising you. They're all shredded. They're happy. Like they go out there and they win. They look good, and they're like, "Wow, I wasn't like as tired as I normally am." It's like, yeah, you didn't suck 15 pounds of water out of your body and then replenish and get in a fist fight.
Not to throw him under the bus, but it was pretty funny. Lockhart was on Joe Rogan's podcast and he was talking about how he would catch like Rampage Jackson with Snickers under his pillow.
Yeah. They were out and they did Yoel Romero's cut.
Oh, okay.
And some of the stories she has about like those guys talking about that, I'm like, and then you see him fight this weekend, you're like, that's a big dude. That's a scary dude.
He's a specimen.
Yep.
Strong.
And even when he missed weight, I believe, this is the third time here. I don't remember, but he was cutting weight and he was actually like doing well, and the commission like cut off the weight cut because the percentages were too too big.
Yeah.
And they were worried about it, and they stopped it, and I'm like, that's
interesting.
Kind of. I wish more people knew that was why they stopped.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, like, and you start looking at these percentages of how much people are losing, like maybe they start doing that, and then people do a healthier weight cut.
Percentages are a big thing. I mean, when you start thinking about how much the smaller guys are cutting as far as percentage of their body weight, I mean, compared to light heavyweights, it's significant. You're like, wow. I mean, a 20-pound weight cut is a lot for anybody.
Right.
But at 225, going down to 205 is way different than 155 going to 135 or 125. Like Brandon Davis was a recent example that you heard
huge.
about.
He's huge.
It's like 6 foot at 135 pounds.
Yeah,
he's built
and big.
Yeah,
big. I don't. On Brandon Davis, my mace coach who taught me is his mace coach as well. Cool. So it's cool to see that. Like, he's a big dude, did a right cut, and strong, fast, powerful, all that stuff. You know, so it works.
They say he just runs his ass off 20 miles a day or something crazy.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
So what is the approach that you take as far as fitness? So Sharkk Fitness, what is that approach? You kind of talk to the diet aspect, but what physical, I mean, are you guys powerlifting? Are you plyometrics?
So I've tried to develop it into like a little bit of everything, right? But the main focus, the main thing that I'm trying to do is create, rotational strength and stability throughout your body, right? Fighting's very unpredictable. There's a lot of variables that go into it. Even if you're not fighting, just everyday life's still unpredictable.
Absolutely.
Right? So trying to create balance throughout your body and strength through movement. One of the big things I always try to like give a visual is like if you're doing a bench press, right? You're laying on a bench. the bar fits in your hand, the weight's evenly distributed, right?
Yeah.
And you're nice and grounded. But in a fight, you're never that stable. You're never gonna just a wrist isn't that big. You know what I mean? Like, excuse me. So you have to be able to create that strength and movement, and with rotational strength, with offset weight, then mixing with plyometrics, then mixing with lifting and some heavy lifting. I try to get a little bit of all of that in there and really educate you on your movement and educate your body on like how to control the uncontrollable, if you will.
Yeah.
You know?
And those are, I mean, core tenets of Muay Thai specifically, fighting in general. But, you know, that balance and power type idea. You can't have the power and the speed in your striking or your movements if you're not balanced to begin with.
It all comes from your feet, right? Everything, you're generating it through your body. And that's when you're rotating, right? A lot of people just like kind of step, kind of turn, kind of don't have control of their body. So what we try to do with everything, all of our lifts, is generate it from your feet. Get grounded, then start rotating through and really working your way up through your kinetic chain, like your knees, your hips, your spine, your scaps is big. It's huge, especially when it comes to fighting. And getting people to get control of those muscles again, right? Like you have control of them, but we spend so much time not really focusing on those small little muscles in our body, those stabilizers and stuff. So by having offset weight, by focusing on rotation, you really have to kind of connect with your body again, learn it, get control of those muscles. If you can learn it and get control of those muscles, you can strengthen those muscles, and then you can let them move freely, and now you're in a much better place, right?
Right. And that's functional for life too. I mean, it's not just fighting.
Not just fighting.
That's life.
Life in general, right? I mean, everyone out here is active, right? Like to hike trails, like to go snowboarding, like to, use nature out here, right? That's a huge thing in Colorado. So just giving people the control of their body back, and lifestyles out here we're not as sedentary as most states, right? We're up and moving.
Absolutely.
But still, like even if we're sitting down doing a podcast, right? We spend a lot of time, even in active state, we spend a lot of time sitting around. So getting control, waking up those muscles, and getting your body to be free again. You know?
I mean, I can tell you just from my own personal experience, this is something that's been trending overall, I feel like, in fitness, and especially, again, martial arts fitness, getting more towards functional lifting and your core and rotational power and from the feet, and just being able to move your body better. And I can tell you, I feel so much better doing that type of lifting than the power lifting that I came from with all the other sports where, I've been lifting since 7th grade, riding my bike to the gym and going to power lift. And I might have been a bigger individual in the past with carrying more muscle, but I was not more capable of doing things. I was, I would be hurting my traps constantly in jiu-jitsu or wrestling or Muay Thai from a basic movement or someone just, lifting my arm funny. So, I mean, it is interesting that I appreciate the trend towards this type of lifting, and you're able to hit these people that don't have this necessary background in powerlifting, and you're able to get them more when, I don't know, like my body, I feel like I'm almost overcoming these things that I've done to it to a certain extent.
You gotta re-educate it, right?
Yeah, for real.
Like going backwards almost.
Putting my hips forward, that movement alone, or like you were saying, controlling your scapula. I mean, it's hard. It's something
crazy.
you have to focus on.
And it's so funny when you see people working out because, I try to really educate everybody.
Yeah.
I try to just share my knowledge with them.
You're just telling them stuff you wish you knew, right?
Exactly. Because I came from that same background, lifting, right? Get big, lift up, everything's fun. Don't get me wrong, I love those workouts
pleasing.
still. Yes, it feels good, man. And when you set a new personal best and you lift something that you couldn't before, and you're just you look in the mirror and you're like, man, I look good, right? It feels good. So that's where I came from. So I had to re-educate myself the same way, and it took a long time, and I think I lost 50 pounds, something like that I had to get off of my body to move the right way.
Right.
And now I'm at a weight and a size where I'm this is where my body can operate the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like we kind of experienced something similar. I felt like I almost had to lose the weight that I had gained in the weightlifting to go back to this kind of, I don't know, in my mind, skin and bones base, and then build up the muscle again the correct way.
Yeah, and I always tell my clients and everybody, I'm there's a difference between show strength and real strength. Yes. Right? You can curl tons of weight, right? You can bench, 300 pounds. Like, that's cool,
Yeah.
right? But like in Muay Thai or grappling, like grab a hold of somebody and then tell me who's really stronger.
Man moving strength.
Right,
It's different.
exactly. Like wrestlers, right? You see
Yeah.
wrestlers that are like, they might be small, they might be jacked, but they're small. They grab a hold of you and you don't feel control at all because they
Yeah.
have control, right?
Yeah.
And you're in their world. So I try to, like I said, through a lot of trial and error, a lot of like working out, finding the right movements, like rotationally, the right plyometric movements to pair with it, the right metabolic drills to put together. So like you're hitting high heart rate, you're hitting strength, you're hitting movement, you're hitting balance, you're offsetting weight. I try to develop all of those things into like one formula now.
Yeah.
And luckily learning, like I said, the lifting way, I now know how to pull those things out and use them the right way.
Right.
Going and learning, training with trainers on it and the Viking Ninja crew and all those guys, and really learning how to break down the mace more. Now I know how to like really like get the most out of that. Right?
I haven't messed with that yet, but it's on my to-do list. It looks
man,
cool.
it's amazing, and that's one of the best things for it is because the weight is offset,
right?
Because you're only working half of your body, you have to create a dynamic with your muscles where half of it, if you're doing a pushing movement, half of it's pushing. The other half has to pull.
Which is like fighting.
Which is fighting.
Yeah.
Right? So now I'm as odd as it sounds, I'm creating more symmetry across my body.
Yeah.
Because if I do my left side, I have to do my right side. And so now you're getting these different dynamics in your body at play at once, which is the instability of fighting, the unpredictability of life, like all those things, right? You step off a curb, like you know, all that little stuff. And now you're educating your body on that. You're getting control of your joints back. You're getting control of your posture back. And then you start adding tension and pressure throughout the muscles, right? So that's one of those things that really amplifies strength. Is it's not necessarily that you increase the weight or you really are like, man, I picked up the 45-pound dumbbells and crushed out 50 of them. It's like, what, Add that tension and pull that mace, push that mace, create that across your body as hard as you can for as long as you can, and switch and do it on the other side. And there's no real metric except for how hard are you doing it. So it puts a lot of accountability on you.
Yeah.
And then when you have that and it's like, hey, you're using the same weight mace that you've been using for a month. How hard are you pushing it? How hard are you really creating that tension in all of those rotations? How hard are you pushing it?
Yeah.
You only have yourself to blame. You only have yourself to pat yourself on the back, right? Which is cool. Because like I said, it gives you that accountability with your training.
Accountability is huge. And, I think that's what going to a coach or going to a gym brings in general. It's difficult, even if I have the mace at home, to fully hold myself accountable day in and day out or even be motivated.
Me too. And I mean, I train my butt off and I try to like keep myself consistent. But if I'm coach, right, and I'm training everybody, like I still have to go see my coaches.
Yes.
Right. I still go have my own coaches that are teaching me things because I need that, right? I need to have them watch me mess up, have them hold me accountable, but being like, how hard did you push it? And I'm like, and I got to think about it. Because if it's just me, I'm going to be like, yeah, I did pretty good. I did the best I could today, right? But if they're pushing you, they're going to always push you harder. They're going to always make you go a little bit, dig a little deeper. And then next thing you know, you're pushing yourself,
Yeah.
So I think it's important to have coaches that do that.
And I think it's evident, too, that you're able to articulate these ideas very well. And these aren't, these are simple ideas that I've kind of come to in my own life that seem to be beneficial, but it's not something I could articulate or teach somebody else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's another benefit of going to a coach with someone like you that has this knowledge. You're able to clearly articulate it and communicate it to people and help them figure it out, because it is an evolution almost of thought or an evolution of experience going from something like lift as much weight as you can, get big, to be able to move in space and under pressure and with things coming at you without injury. Idea.
It's one of the things that like I really focus on and at our gym, and what I try to get everybody is, we just got a new squat rack, right? Like it was something that we'd set out for a while ago.
Yeah.
But I wasn't one of the first things that we brought into the gym because I was like, I want people to rely on that.
Yes.
I want to educate people on how to squat the right way. There's other ways to teach you so your body knows. Then when you graduate to that, if you will, you're comfortable. You know what to do. You know where your knees need to be. You know how to engage your core. Like I've given you control of your muscles back.
It's spatial awareness almost.
Yeah. Yep. And then like I said, you're you're grounding yourself. You're generating that
Yes.
force from your feet. You're not just loading up a bar and letting gravity do the work for you and hurting yourself.
Yeah.
So just now getting that and just now getting to have that is like it's amazing for me because I'm like, now everybody gets to kind of like take that next step
Yeah.
up. And then any new people that we get to re-educate them. And we have a system that we've built. We have a system set in place. We have a core group, a community of people that are all there to help each other that will also help elevate any new members that we have, anybody that comes in the gym and really help them. And then the same thing with like our fight team. Like now they all get to see it and like start to benefit from it more and more.
Well, so tell me more about that. I mean, you showed me kind of how the nutrition integrates with your philosophy on working out and training people, how that kind of fits into the big picture. So then where does the fight team come in, or how do you train them? How do they integrate in?
Now we're doing classes with like pro practices that's just focused on like recovery and movement.
So this, you mentioned before the show, it used to be kind of Grudge, and that's where you did your internship. They were a big training center here north of Denver in Colorado. Pretty well known. I mean, they had UFC fighters, and Trevor Whitman was coaching there.
Great coach, yeah. So to go back to that a little bit, like that gym, I don't really know all the details, but it was just kind of closing down. And our head coach, Jake, he opened Genesis Training Center, moved over, and it was a lot of Grudge, just transplanting, kind of starting new, if you will. I mean, Genesis, right? And right. So we were just kind of starting new and getting back into a new team, right? And it was the old team, but you know, it was a little bit of like transition, if you will, a little transition period. But everything was super smooth, just getting over there, and then it was time to build and it was time to grow as Genesis Fight Team and rebuild ourselves. And that was, I'll say 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
A little maybe 3 years ago. And we moved locations, started just getting everything back, the ball rolling. Like we had different wrestling coaches and jiu-jitsu coaches and just building back up. Now we have 10th Planet, Denver is part of the team. So they're heading up all the jiu-jitsu, Connor Hune and Heather Clark and everybody. They're doing their thing and they're doing jiu-jitsu. Jake's brought in, like he's doing all of the striking and the kickboxing and all that. Nate Marquardt's been doing wrestling with everybody.
Oh, neat. UFC veteran.
Brandon Gertz does wrestling.
Bellator fighter. Cool.
So all those guys have, picked up like wrestling and stuff like that. And then I'm doing all the strength and conditioning. So now that we're in our new location, we've developed this kind of team system that we've got, right? Through, once again, trial and error, figuring it out. We now have like a core crew of everything. So we can do everything in one location. So really what I'm starting to do with our team is movement-based strength and conditioning and recovery. One of the big things that I harp on is foam rolling and getting that tissue to respond the way you need it to.
For recovery.
Yeah. And there's a lot of great programs. We use the Rad Roller system.
Is that I definitely want to hear detail, but so when I'm just looking kind of bird's eye view at your program, is foam rolling the primary method of recovery? Or are you utilizing other things, or is that what you like the most?
Strength and conditioning, yep. So like with the maces and through, we have yoga. We have steel mace yoga, so we do that for movement and recovery. We have some classes that are just like long warm-ups, just to, like I said, get your body educated. But as far as like decompression and stuff like that, foam rolling is really important.
Cool. So you integrate multiple kind of recovery methods. I mean, yoga's recovery, but you're also working the body. So you like the foam rolling for the decompression.
For decompression.
Cool.
And we use it to warm up too. There's times to foam roll. So foam rolling at the beginning of your workouts as a certain way to stimulate your nervous system and get that tissue warm. And then also decompressing at the end. So what we've been starting with is decompression at the end, because that's when people are starting to, trauma from sparring and working out and all that stuff.
I don't decompress enough.
Yes, and nobody does. I mean, I don't, and I'm sitting here telling you how good it is, right? Like, so trying to really create that as like a part of recovery, right? And then also, so we just kind of alternate. Like we'll do that 1 week, then the next week we'll do some movement, then we'll go back to foam rolling. So that way, once again, I can help everybody learn some more skills to add to their arsenal. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm not there, I still want everybody to know how to do things. I don't want people to just. Our foam rolling system is a little different than normal, but there's a lot of tools you can use for your whole body. If you can't find the right tool to foam roll that are placed, and you just don't know what tool to use.
Sure,
That's really
sure.
it.
So you have different types of foam rollers?
Yeah, so
or
the
what?
Rad Roller system that we use, they actually are a Colorado company that
Really? Rad Roller?
Rad Roller, yeah,
Cool.
they're amazing, and they developed their foam rolling system for the Olympic team.
Wow.
So they do a lot of really good work, and they've done a lot of studies and invest a lot of money on recovery. So just learning that and how to use I'm sure you've seen the two.
The So Right?
Kind of. Yeah, the two like tennis balls almost.
Oh, okay.
And like soccer, the two racket balls.
Yes, I was thinking of something else. I do know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So like that is one of the key components, but this is meant for foam rolling. The material that it's made out of is meant to grab your tissue and to get it to start to move and to fit between your scapulas down your spine.
Yeah.
Their foam rollers all have like a lot of I'll show you after a couple weird like grooves and stuff like that fit different parts of your body, so it can grab the muscle and lengthen the tissue the way it's supposed to. It can help, like I said, stimulate the nervous system so that way the tissue can relax and respond. And then, not to go too deep on it, but releasing your muscles after you're working out. They're tense and they're tight and they're full of lactic acid and all this other nonsense. Getting to let that go and flushing your body out so it can start to recover. So really, we're just trying to put everything together, like working out, recovery, nutrition,
I love
skills all at once.
You're kind of creating an On It in Colorado.
Yeah, that's kind of
your own version of it.
Was our goal, right? So when I first went down
to
On It, and I asked them, like, why don't you guys come to Colorado? They don't hold training seminars out here. They're all. I had to fly out of state for all of my trainings.
I know, I've looked at one.
And I asked them, like, why don't you guys come out here? And they're like, it's too competitive.
I
was like, competitive in a good way? They're like, competitive in a negative way.
Wow.
And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, no one's really trying to work with each other out there. So that was kind of like stood out to me, and that was like 4 years ago. So hopefully it started to change. But we were like, let's be that change, right? Let's like start to branch out. And like I said, we're partnered with great teams, you know what I'm saying? Like work with them and try to get everybody on the same page, right? Because if Colorado MMA is doing good and Colorado Kickboxing and Muay Thai is doing good, then we're all doing good, right?
Yeah.
Like if we're all going out there and every time you see someone from a different gym out here winning, like that elevates all of us. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So trying to like do that and create our own little thing out here,
love it.
you know? So started small and we're building up. We'll get there soon enough.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think it's great what you're doing. I mean, I think that is a great idea to give people options, to give them an all-in-one kind of choice if they want that too, and maybe even making it a la carte within it, which I think you spoke to you do have that availability.
I have clients that come in like they come in just a foam roll. They're just coming in. They like the recovery system. They like what they get to work with. I have clients that come in and if they can't make class, they just grab a mace and they're like, hey, I got to loosen up my shoulders. And they just do a couple drills to loosen their shoulders up and leave and get those joints back where they're supposed to be from their daily life, So sometimes you just got people running in real quick to get a quick workout, foam roll real quick, and they're getting out of here. They're not even doing a class. They're just in to help their body, heal their body. And it's cool to see that because like, it's like I said, it started so small, and like now to see so many different people coming in, and then like I said, getting the fight team involved and those guys and girls starting to like come together and take care of their bodies more it's just all beneficial, man.
Yeah. So what does it look like as far as membership? Like, could they just be a member with you? Do they have to be a member with the whole gym?
So you could be a member with 10th Planet. You can be a member with Genesis. You can be a member with Sharkk Fitness. You can be a member with all three.
Cool. 2
of them, mix and match. So we have some members that are just boxing. They only want to box. They're there for boxing. That's it. Then we got some that are just boxing and fitness. Then we got kickboxers and fitness. We got MMA and fitness. We got MMA and jiu-jitsu.
So all the options.
All the options.
You can kind of customize it to your needs.
Yep, to whatever you need.
Cool.
And all of us there's all drop-ins. So if you're in there and say you're just doing Muay Thai and you're looking over and you're like, man, what are they doing? Like, you can come try it. And then say when you're done with that and you look over and you see 10th Planet getting warmed up and they're getting ready, you're like, man, I wanna go try that for a little bit. You can go do that.
Wow.
And everybody, like I said, tries to enhance everybody, right?
Yeah, that's great.
And like I said, we're just trying to build that community that's everything.
And it makes it more financially affordable when you team up with people as opposed to trying to open a single gym on your own that has all these things. Not to mention you're not a specialist in all these items.
Right. Like I could never teach a jiu-jitsu class. Right? Like I couldn't teach a boxing class, right? Like I don't have enough skills in those departments to do it. But yeah, all those working together. And like I said, you get if you're a member of one, you get a discount on another,
Neat.
So that way
Very
financially, we're not totally breaking the bank.
And you're encouraging them to try new things too.
Yeah, yep. And I said, the schedule stacks together, so you can build your own schedule that fits you the best.
Very cool. So what about, I mean, you're also 3-0 in
Yeah.
kickboxing, Muay
Yep.
Thai. So how do you integrate your training into the schedule? I mean, are you going to Genesis fight classes and then
Yeah.
taking your own classes? Are you training yourself? What does that look like?
So I'm doing all of our fitness classes like with our members, but when it comes like time to get ready for a fight, I kind of take a step back from some of those and I try to structure it so it's like to my needs.
Yeah.
Right.
Just get a little selfish. I mean.
Yep. I book extra training sessions with my coaches.
Yeah.
I reach out to different coaches to like kind of set up a program for me that I wouldn't set up.
Cool.
So we have a couple other trainers that work well, and I'm like, hey, why don't you create something for me that's I get in habits that I like to do.
Right.
And then
That's smart.
Yeah, just to be the client at that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I do I'll train with the fight team, sparring with those guys and getting in extra workouts with them. Trying to do some Dutch drills and some kickboxing drills like that. The guys up at Pound for Pound are always super awesome. I go work with those guys a little bit. Like LT is one of my coaches, and
I've seen videos of you working with him on the mace as well.
Yeah, he was one of the first dudes to kind of teach me how to strike.
Cool.
He was like one of my first
Good
coaches.
guy to learn from.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna learn from somebody. You're gonna learn from him. He was one of the first dudes I sparred with, and he just smacked me around. You know what I'm saying? But then pulled me aside and was like, "Hey, this is what you need to do. This is how you know what I mean?" So, just keeping that relationship, and then J-Ho and those guys at Pound Pound are cool. Booking more privates with Jake to sharpen everything. You know what I mean? And I keep it more kickboxing Muay Thai based. I kind of dial it back a little bit on the strength and conditioning and fitness. I still do it, but I definitely limit the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Right?
Is it every day you're doing some kind of strength and fitness?
Yep. And I listen to my body. Like there's days where it might just be like, don't do anything. And I think people underestimate how important rest is for recovery. Especially with the newborn. I'm curious to see how it's going to go because sleeping's kind of all over the place, So we'll see with this next fight how it goes. But yeah, I try to keep it more kickboxing based, more Muay Thai based. All the movements that I'm doing are more to simulate strength and conditioning in a fight and less strength and conditioning for like just getting really cool quads or something. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Some more directly applicable functional workouts for fighting and preparing. And I guess not only just for fighting in general, but for ramping up for your fight camp and be able to have a peak performance on fight day.
Yep. Balance is important. I try to really get on like recovery, because it hurts. Try to do the cryo chamber a couple times in there because that's a good, get a lot of good proteins for your body to heal there. Unfortunately, I have to get really strict with my diet.
Yeah.
I like to eat junk food, so it's hard to eat
Does
healthy.
Your fiance help you with that, or do you generally
do it
yourself?
The last couple were a little rough, but she does. I'm hoping this next one I'll get to have her for the full camp, right, which will be nice. She had a lot of clients for the last 2 fights and a lot of stuff going on, so
You put on the back burner a little bit.
Exactly. But it's all right. She takes care of me. And then, like, at the end of the day, like, when it comes to, like, the cut part, if I kind of slack on the nutrition, she's always there for the cut.
Nice.
Which I think she gets a kick out of because it's painful.
Right.
Like, cutting that weight is really difficult, so she is there for that.
Cool. So she's helping you with the diet. You're kind of, you mentioned recovery is critical in your opinion. So is it 5 days you're working out, 6 days a week? Or are you kind of doing 3 days, rest day?
I try to usually get 5 to 6 days in, and then as it gets closer to the fight, dial it back a little bit. The main thing, at least for me, and it's just because I'm like new to fighting and everything, I like to spar, and I know not everybody's like big on that, but for me, it's like that's when I can like mentally prepare. And if I know that I had those rounds in, I know the strength and conditioning side's good, I know the nutrition side's good, like the proof is in the pudding for all of that. It's just my skills as I get closer. So I really, want to make sure that I'm getting sharp. All my teammates are killers, so it's good to go lose a lot of rounds to those guys for my confidence. You know what I mean?
Because their skill level is, theoretically above yours. That they've
I'm definitely
had
the
success.
low man on the totem pole when it comes to.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah, exactly. So all those guys, beat me up pretty good. But that, like I said, it feels good, and I feel when I have good rounds, or even when I have bad days, it's all learning. It's always learning, and I'm like, hey, if I go out there and I get beat up, that just means the guy that I fought's really good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can be comfortable with that.
I think sparring's good. I mean,
Yeah.
it gets you used to the intensity, and you hear some of the older guys like Cerrone talk about how, you know, he would spar a lot back in the day.
Yeah.
Now he doesn't as much because he doesn't need to know what that intensity is like.
Yes.
But I agree. I mean, you know, even for the first, 20 fights of your career, I mean, it's still
right. I'm still so new to it.
hype.
Yeah, and I don't, like I said, I don't have those rounds that those guys have.
Right.
You know what I mean? I have teammates that have been fighting, you know, for years that they still spar, but like they might spar every couple weeks, but they're fine. You know what I mean? They know what it's like. They don't need to. So yeah, and in different intensities too. You know, we have like our live days where it's like you're going, you know, and then there's the days where, you know, call it tech sparring, but it kind of elevates to, you know, so trying to keep it like if you're sparring multiple times a week, like work technique on the tech days, go live on live days. But
how often do you go live? Like, how often do you have a hard sparring?
At least once a week.
Okay.
At least once a week. Sometimes twice a week if you're feeling good and things went well. Like I said, our tech rounds sometimes delve into live rounds.
Yeah.
You know, so we made the joke yesterday. They're like, I don't think there's ever been a tech round here. Because like, you land one, I land one, you land one, I land. Next thing you know, you're sparring, right?
Yeah.
But I try to like dial it back because I want to work new skills. I want to like, if I'm hitting pads and I'm working on the bag and there's certain things that I'm working on, like I want to try those. And live days aren't always the best day to try that. You know what I mean? Because you get smacked around a little bit. But then sometimes, I mean, it's the best place to try it. So just trying to balance it, really. I'm just trying to learn it. Yeah. That's all.
Do you try to focus on any like new skill in camp, or is camp primarily get in shape for the fight?
It's kind of sharpening everything, right? Like I got my skills that I like, right? And I wouldn't say any of them are like great or anything like that. So I'm always trying to sharpen those up.
So you do keep focusing on your strengths. So.
Yeah. I still try to focus on my strengths, but I'm also trying to like evolve too, right? But in between fights, which for me has been like a lot of time, I'm constantly trying new things and learning new things. Just trial and error, right? And sometimes it's cool in the middle of sparring, like you hit a combo that you didn't even mean to throw, you just threw it. And you're like, that's how it should feel. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you might get one of those every couple months. At least for me, I'm not, like I said, I can't speak for anybody else, but like, hit a combo and you're like, that was nice. You hit like a step or an angle that you've been working for months, and all of a sudden it just comes. And
feels
you're like,
good. Yeah.
That's cool. But yeah, every time I go into sparring, I take 2 or 3 things that day I'm going to focus on. Cool. Like, you know, I'm going to work this angle, I'm going to work this combo. And sometimes I spam it so much and I get caught. But it's good to learn it because I'm like, I got caught on it, using it too much, and this is what I got caught with. Yep. And I always like to ask my teammates, I'm like, what did you see? Like, what did you hit me with? Like, oh, you stepped here, and that's, you know, how I hit you with that head kick or whatever. Nice. It's like, oh, cool.
So you get feedback in between rounds after the sparring.
After sparring, everyone just kind of goes over it and just, at least I like to, you know, I like to talk to everybody that I got rounds with and just be like.
I don't know that everybody does it, so I think that is a good practice. I think, again, you know, speaking to self-awareness and understanding of where you are in your career and the ability to get better, you know, that's the best way. Get feedback from the people that you're fighting.
Right, and like I said, being the low man on the totem pole, it's like I can learn a lot from all my teammates. They're all
you have a lot of knowledge around you.
Exactly. So pick their brain on like, how do you step into your left kick? Like, how do you know, throw your switch jab? Like, you know, what angle do you take after this? You know what I mean? Just learning those things and then applying them to work in the bag. Apply them to when we're hitting mitts. Apply them to when I'm shadow boxing or you know what I mean? Just doing footwork drills. And I mean, just drilling it. One of my teammates was saying yesterday, he was reading an article, and I can't remember what it was, but that you if you're throwing a combo, you only end up throwing like 20 or 30% of the combo you throw.
I believe it.
Right? And when he said that right away, it clicked. I'm like, that's right. You know, so if you're throwing a 5-piece in a fight, you might just throw like a jab and a kick.
That Damian Trainer guy's all about that.
Yes.
He likes his high combination counts. Yeah.
And so that's something that I've been working on. I'm like, hey, try to put together like these longer combinations. Cool. And then I ended up trying to do too much of the combination and had to like get dialed back. And they're like, hey, like don't try to do your 15-piece combo. Take a segment of it, find it, and just see how it feels.
You train it outside of sparring so that you've got the stamina, so that your body's used to it. But then, it, like you said, it scales back to like a third of it when you're actually implementing.
Which makes a lot of sense. So then it's like, then I know, now hearing that, I'm like, I'm excited to apply it and be like, yo, let's get, you know, these nice long combos and then see how it feels on sparring day in this next like 6-8 weeks. Like, am I putting together longer combos where I'm going head, body low, head, you know what I mean? Am I starting to do that more? Because, you know, like, go to the head, go to the body, go to the low kicks, mix it up, all that stuff. But, I mean, being new, you just end up going, throwing haymakers. You know what I'm saying? Like hooks and headhunting, you know? So, trying to scale that back a little bit would be.
I think it's great. Yeah, I mean, I think you're speaking to the evolution in your training with martial arts that you know, similar to you saw in lifting, that you realize, hey, this is just a better way to do it for more results that I actually desire. Maybe not aesthetically pleasing results, but what we actually want. Yeah, what actually works.
This is gonna apply really well. Right. So it's fun. I mean, that's cool, man. I mean, there's so much, like, and especially being so new to it, it's like the amount to learn is just vast. And I think as long, even with fitness, even with nutrition, even with training, if you're continually learning and trying new things, like you're in a good place. Yeah. You know, things are gonna go smooth.
So what does a normal weight cut look like for you going into a fight?
Ideally, I'd like to keep it to like a cut under 10 pounds.
Okay.
So I fight at 153. I usually got like 22, 23 pounds to lose.
Like the beginning of camp.
At the beginning of camp, right? Like not eating healthy at all.
Right.
Just
living your life.
Just living my life.
Yeah.
And usually, like I said, if I'm eating healthy, like, and getting that off the right way, like I did 3 cuts where the fighters pulled out. Mm-hmm. So like, I have experience even though my last 2 didn't. Yeah. But those cuts went really well to where week of I was only like 7-8 pounds over. Nice. But then for my last 2 fights, because I was messing around, I was like 18 pounds over. So that week was rough. And it hurt, and the cuts weren't smooth.
So what does that look like if you are 18 over? I mean, are you just like barely eating?
Yeah, so I'm just cleaning it up. So one of the things that we did is just like, you still want to eat. You're still going to need energy to cut the weight. Sure. So really clean. I can't remember the exact day we cut out sodium and all that stuff. So it's just really lean meals, light meals, but it's
nothing that's staying on you.
Right, but it's all energy to then get the cut. Okay. So starting the last 2, I was 18 over, and then I ended up the morning of weigh-ins 5 or 6 pounds over.
Okay. So how long out are we? 18? Like
Monday.
Monday, and we're
morning,
fighting Saturday?
Saturday, yeah. Okay. So Monday morning, about 18 pounds over, 15 pounds over. And then by Friday morning, 5 to 6 pounds over, and then that's the water cut.
Right. But that's within range.
It's
not fun, but
it's not fun.
It's doable.
And it's harder to get off because I didn't prep my body the right way. If I had prepped my body the right way, like, I probably would have been on weight with just the nutrition. And if I would have prepped my body the right way and still needed to cut 6 pounds, it would have been fine because I would have been able to pull it. Mm-hmm. But because I was slacking off and not eating everything I would and sneaking Snickers and all that stuff. Mine is chips. I sneak chips. The cut part was a little rough. Sure. But made it, and it was fine, and then replenish, and by the time it comes back to fight time, I'm usually back up about 15 pounds, nice. Reloading and everything, yeah. Cool. The reload's the most important part, as I'm told. Like, so I'm not the weight cut specialist.
And that's probably where a lot of people slack. Maybe not a lot of people, but
it's hard, right? You see a lot of the Pedialyte trick, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, I'll get Pedialyte, but my fiance's got it dialed down. Like, here's your sodium, here's your sugar, here's everything that you need, here's your caffeine, the right amount of all these compounds, and you just, I don't know if you saw when we fought, she had these liter bottles.
I do remember.
And she was just sliding them across the table, and every time I'd stop drinking, she's shoving one in my face to drink. I'm like, I can't even get any more water in my body. And she's like, drink it, because you have to, it's all timed, you know.
And a lot of that's where the weight comes from.
And it all came back, and like the next morning I woke up, I felt great, you know what I mean? And every time she gives me those reload shakes the next morning, I'm like, man, I feel good. And not sluggish, not like loaded down with anything. So,
right. Feel good to fight the next day.
Yeah. And I've always felt good on fight day, you know what I mean? Even with the 2 bad cuts. I've always felt good with, and I think it's the recovery side of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting. So,
yeah.
So take me back, I guess. So you're 3-0 right now. Muay Thai Kickboxing, you've got a fight, theoretically on the horizon. You're looking at November potentially.
November potentially, yeah.
Okay. So take me back to the beginning of your career. I mean, when did you first get started in martial arts specifically?
I started when I started my internship at Grudge.
Cool.
So
was that your first time walking into a martial arts gym?
Yeah, really? First time ever. No, so I've been a fan forever, right? Like, and watching the sport and kickboxing and MMA. I mean, I was in high school. I think it was like my junior year in high school, and we rented like a VHS, which is like dating me a little bit. But we were at the Blockbuster. We rented it, and we just had like a little party, and we put in this VHS like for like background noise, and we watched it. We're like, what? Like, this is so cool. So then fast forward, like I'd been following it for years, and I went to school, got my degree, and I had to do like 140 hours of an internship. And the list that they gave us was like 24-Hour Fitness, Planet Fitness, like LA. I was like,
pretty straight up.
Yeah, I was like, I don't really want to do that. Like, you know what I mean? After all this time, it's like, I want to do something fun.
Yeah.
And so I looked at a bunch of gyms in Denver, and I realized like MMA was huge out here, or combat sports, I should say. It's huge,
especially comparatively.
Yeah, it was insane. I was like shocked at like, you know, all the gyms around. I was like, man, the options are huge, and Grudge just stood out, and I recognized immediately like that facility, that place, those names, those faces, like, and I called and set up a meeting and went in and met Jake and Luke and Trevor and those guys, and they gave me the internship, right? So like, you're gonna shadow under me. So I shadowed under Jake and Luke for 140 hours. Like, watched how they coach their boxing and kickboxing classes, watched MMA, you know.
You see
like,
the business side of it? Did you get
yeah,
to see,
I
like,
got
the gym
to the
running?
business side of it. I worked with T on like the development of curriculum, you know, which is really cool to kind of like talk to him about that,
and get the wheel spinning
in my mind for like, and that's really what started building my curriculum to what it is today. You know, honestly, it was like seeing, because I was trying to match what I was doing to what they were learning in their striking curriculum. You know what I mean? So that was super fun. I shadowed with Tyler Stinson for like all of his fitness classes, who I was a fan of before I even like got there. So then meeting him, I'm like, what? Like, you're right here. And so that was really cool, and like all like just everybody kind of like just started sharing knowledge with me, you know, LT and like everybody just really like started helping me out, and they just kind of got on me. They're like, when are you gonna get your gloves on, dude? When are you, you know what I mean? And kind of like, I don't want to say peer pressure because it wasn't like that, but like
they're your friends,
like,
now.
Like busting your balls. They're like, yo, dude, like, you here all day, like, what are you gonna do? And Rakan, who's one of my best friends now, you know, I met him there, and he I was like, hey, let's do a trade. I'll teach you how to strike, and you teach me how to do fitness.
Cool.
And so I was like, cool. So I got a pair of gloves and started working with him, and then I started taking classes. You know what I mean? And I'm doing classes, and then they're like, hey, you're gonna start sparring, and I was like, God, I mean, it took me a while to get up to sparring there, because I started going in on Saturdays to watch sparring, but then it's like, you know, Gaethje, Gertz, Melvin Gillard, like all those dudes in, and they're just going.
And they're dudes that go hard even compared to other fighters.
Yeah, like Pat Barry and my boy Hammer, like these dudes, and they're just going, you know. And I'm like, it was the coolest thing to go on Saturday and watch all these guys. It was fights, you know what I mean? Like, you're going in and you're watching 5 fights every 5 minutes, you know what I mean? With different guys, and it was so much fun. But I mean, you're seeing people get knocked out. You're seeing, you know what I mean? I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna do this, you know. And then finally, after about a year of just like training and practicing, I was like, you know what, like, I'm gonna do it. Cool. I'm gonna go in there, and LT smacked me around pretty good. And then my teammate Grant Neal, who's fighting for Bellator this weekend.
Yeah, we're actually doing a weekend preview on him.
Oh yeah, he smacked the crap out of me a couple times, a few times.
He's a big guy.
Yeah, strong man. But then, like, after you get those couple days of getting beat up, you know, and feeling what it's like, you're like, okay, I just have to get better at this, right? Like, it's not as scary anymore. It's not, you know, you're like, yeah, like, kind of like go in there, get beat up, and just get better. You know what I mean? And that was it. And it was really cool because it was when Genesis was just starting, so it was the time of like rebuilding. It was a good time for me to kind of start. It all kind of worked out the right way. And after a little bit of sparring, I was like, yo, I think I want to get a fight. And Eric from 5280 was in the gym that day.
Oh, wow.
He's like, hey, I got a guy needs a fight next week. Are you in? And I was like, I looked at my coaches. They looked at me, and they're like, wow, are you down? And I was like, yeah, like, let's go.
And you'd been pushing it hard essentially at
Yeah,
this point.
at this
Feel
point, I've been
good.
training a lot. I'd been sparring, like I said, 2 times a week,
Yeah.
every week for
Confidence
a couple
is
months.
building.
Yeah, I'd actually like had a fight lined up for September, but like a couple weeks out, I threw a push kick and I snapped my toenail backwards.
Yeah.
It was like the nastiest thing that's
Yeah.
ever happened to me, and so I couldn't walk for a little while. But once that like fell off, I didn't have a toenail anymore. I went back to sparring, and I was like, well, I'd been sparring for months. It was only like 3 weeks off. It was probably good for my body. Like, I'm probably in good shape. So took the fight, had a fun fight. I broke my foot like 20 seconds in, being an idiot. But I had a blast, and it was fun, like big, tall dude, busted my nose up. Like I said, I broke my foot. Like, tons of things went wrong, and won all 3 rounds, and I had a blast. And I was like, I can't wait to do it again. And then... like I said, it was about a year, almost a year actually, because it was December to December until we fought. And I had all those fights fall through, but I was still training that whole year. So it was like, I just tried to take it, and I talked to a couple of my teammates, and they're like, think of every camp and take a lesson and learn. Like, just because you didn't get the fight at the end, treat it like you did, And so I did, and that was like a good piece of advice from one of my teammates, and just kept going. And then, we got that fight, and that was a blast. I was like so stoked that like nobody was pulling out, and like I had a good opponent to fight. And then after that, I just jumped right back in because everything was feeling good, and I was
so you just went back into fight camp?
Yeah, I went right back in, and got another one. I think it was like 6 weeks later, 8 weeks later, something like that. Fought again, finished that guy, which felt really good. And then probably could have fought one more time, but my fiance was pregnant the whole time. Like,
the baby's coming at this point.
So I was like, you know what? Let's just take a step back. Like, I was excited. We fought, and then I got to fight right again, and I wanted to just keep going. I was like, you know what? Take some time. Like, if it's another year before you fight again, it's okay. You've done it before. You know how
you're
to
still
train.
Training. You're developing your skills.
Still get better and take time to be a dad. And that so that was what the focus was. And now this is going to be the first fight coming back after that.
Got your business going at the new location, kind of getting rolling there.
It was all needed. You know, like everything like happened exactly how it was supposed to. You know, I didn't necessarily plan it like that, but it happened because I was able to focus on the gym, really help build that up. We moved locations. We had a whole new undertaking, renovations, all this stuff. And now it's finally like coming together the way that we'd been planning it, the way that Jake had been planning it. Yeah, so it's really cool.
It's cool to see from the outside too, man.
Right.
I mean, hearing that story and seeing the hard work and the time that you put in and kind of how you've integrated all the parts and built this around you, and then you essentially building the lifestyle that you want to live. I mean, it's impressive.
It's really, really cool. It's
cool.
Sometimes I sit back and I'm not like anything crazy successful or anything like that.
But you're living the life you want to live.
Yeah, being able to, like I said, like our whole goal was always just to like be able to raise our kids. We get to go to work every day, and it's fun. It's a riot, you know what I mean? Like, going to UFC events are work trips now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, going out to fights and like supporting like the local fight community. That's work, but it's not work. You know what I mean? We get to go watch fights and like see people grow. And I mean, we've seen people from like, not necessarily that we worked with, but just being a part of the community, watching people like fight in Sparta and in these local events, and then go to the LFA, and then go to the UFC, and then be like ranked top 10 in the world. And they're, a few years ago we were sitting at the Grizzly Rose, you know what I mean, drinking beers at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, watching fights, which is really, it's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome.
Neat. It is. I mean, you've essentially you had this dream and you manifested it, with the help of others, but also with your, you visualizing and doing it. So it's really cool.
Lots of people like believing in us and like. In investing and giving us opportunity. You know what I mean? Like it's huge, and you just like I said, try to put your best foot forward for all of it, and when things don't go your way, just do it again.
So what are your goals now? I mean, what do you visualize as the future?
Oh man. I just want to keep growing the business. I want to keep growing the team. I love like the momentum that we have, and we're just like, if it honestly feels like we're just getting started now. You know what I'm saying? Like from the time Grudge closed to Genesis starting to now, it feels like, honestly, like this month we're just starting, right? So it feels really cool because we're at that beginning stage in my mind. Yeah, and it's like, okay, how can we like give back more to our members. Like, what can we do to like really like help them? How can we help other people achieve their goals, right? We got a lot of fighters competing in the next few months. And I mean, if we go back to when we first opened Genesis, I mean, we only had a handful of our teammates that were ready to fight. People had injuries. People went and trained at other gyms, like all sorts of stuff, right? So now, you know, we look and we got this board of, you know, 16 fighters all going out for fights. Last time when we fought, a bunch of us all fought in March. I think we went like 10-1 or 10-2. So it's
cool.
like it's cool to see everybody go out and win and
do
like
it together.
Yeah, it's that next wave. So it's like, how can we help that? And then after that wave, there's going to be another one. So just continuing this momentum, really.
Yeah.
I really, like I said, getting the nutrition back in the gym is like a key, like cornerstone's really big.
Cool.
Like, so we can't wait to do that. Just that building our team and our crew and our community is just awesome. It's just fun, you know.
I love what you've done.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. You have to come check out the gym for sure.
I will. I definitely will.
Yeah.
So I'll have you sign that before you leave, but I do want one thing from you. If you had a tip, I mean, so you're a martial artist, you're an entrepreneur, you're kind of in this community. What would it be for someone, a tip for a young martial artist or fighter, whether they're aspiring to fight or just kind of maximize their experience? What would it be?
One thing that like stood out to me that like I've applied and it's something I work on every day is just control what you can control and try to stay positive, right? It's super easy when things don't go your way, when things hit the fan, to like let that get to you and let that emotion kind of slow you down. And it's okay like to feel that way, but when things aren't good, that's the time you got to stay positive. When things aren't going your way, that's the time you have to like, all right, like calm down, because like all of it, it's just a wave, man. You just ride it, right? I would just say like stay positive. If it's something you want to do and it's something you believe in, it's something you're pushing for, do it, right?
I love
it. When things go south, because inevitably they will, none of us get anything easy, just stay calm and like work through it. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only thing that will throw anybody off, is letting that emotion like set you back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love
it, man. Thank you for having me.
And how can people follow you?
Sharkk Fitness on Instagram and on Facebook, and it's Sharkk with 2 Ks. Genesis Fight is our fight team, our fight academy. 10 Planet Denver is on there, so all three of us are on Instagram, Facebook, all under our names.
Sweet. And
awesome, man.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for watching. Check us out online at theprizefightingbusiness.com. Follow us on Instagram at PrizeFightBiz. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and don't forget to like us on Facebook. Thanks.